Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Fucking insane. I really need to complain. I don't know why we can't ever get that working. Been like a year.
It worked the past few weeks just
Ah.
out for some reason.
All right, dropping the announcement. All right, we'll get started soon. It's like we're about heading up. All right. Oh wait, 1 second. Where's my tea? I'm drinking Shaka Tea Hawaii, Passion Orange Guava, Island Vibes, naturally caffeine-free herbal tea. I highly recommend if people want cold and caffeine-free tea. I've been enjoying it lately. It's very healthy. It's literally just water with hibiscus. Just saying. Just saying. Shaka Tea. This office hour is brought to you by Shaka Tea. I feel like I should just like advertise somebody else's product at the beginning of every office hours. Kind of insane, but like I do like things, you know? And I think I stopped drinking soda. I stopped drinking caffeine, and now I have mostly these caffeine-free herbal teas, and I feel better. Also, vitamin D. Everybody definitely make sure you're getting enough vitamin D. Feeling better lately. I think I had a vitamin D deficiency. You gotta take your gummies. Oh yeah, and Catalytic Crunch is pretty good. Yeah. What else? I don't know what else I'm eating. No peaches this week. Actually, I have I'm gonna try a fig. Like I'm gonna eat a fig raw, which apparently is a thing, but I've never done it before. Oh, I have some. Anyway, let's get to the thing. So this is the weekly Midjourney office hours. We do these every week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Basically, what we do is we talk about what we're working on. We talk about what we're thinking about, and then we answer questions. So let's get started. We are pivoting a little bit. Oh, well, yeah, we're going to do the little hive mind thing this week, so I'll put it up. So we're going to use this little link, and you can submit questions to it and rank each other's questions. And I think I'm going to try to do these a little bit more. I think I'm going to try to push a little, like, I'm going to try to be more controlled with these things, but I want to, like, get to everybody's questions. But I think we're going to use the hive mind to, like, answer the most important questions instead of the lightning round. And then maybe do a few voice things as, like, to be personal. And then I'm going to try to structure my life a little bit more and try to use my energy to push some big fucking projects out the door, which, you know, I'm sure everybody will be sad that am I only doing 1 hour office hours instead of 3 hour office hours, but I think you'll be happy with the stuff once we start to get the new projects out there. I know you'll be happy. And yeah. This 1 hour office hour is brought to you by Passion Shaka Herbal Tea. That's pretty good, actually. Maybe I should just Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Catalina Crunch. The honey oats, the honey version's good. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, let's get started. So, the biggest things going on are we've been pivoting a little bit what we were working on this week based on sort of some early testing. So we were going to do an advanced personalization system, but I'm feeling less good about it because it feels complicated and there's a lot of clicks. And I'm just kind of like, this is advanced, but like not enough people are using the basic personalization. So I think we're going to put the advanced thing a little bit on hold, and we're going to push out like a more aggressive effort to get regular people to have personalization on instead of off. And we're going to see how that goes first. And then we're also, I mean, I tried forcing a lot of friends to use personalization, and I found when I forced them, everybody was really happy. So I think I just need to like force people a little bit more on the website. So we're going to see how that goes. Otherwise, we'll make things more advanced, and even fewer users will be using it. So I'm just like concerned about that. So I want to sort of address the underlying issue first and foremost, which is to push people towards having the basic on. So we're gonna try that, and then we're gonna also try to get some version. We have some ideas for like a batch 8 mode that has personalization on by default for everybody, and it kind of like is like a bigger batch variation, and then it kind of like converges. So it's kind of a different flow. We have kind of like a crazy idea. I can't fully explain it, but I think instead of trying to make it more advanced personalization, we're going to try to push people to use the existing one. And then we're going to try to build a mode where it's sort of on by default in a really elegant way, potentially. And so we're going to refocus a little bit there. We will come back to more advanced personalization, but we're going to put that on hold for a little bit. And then we are also testing a new editor mode, which lets you edit external images. And it definitely can be used for good or for evil. So we are going to play with adding some heavy moderation features to it. And once we get the moderation features working well enough, we will think about releasing it. We are debating how we're going to release it. So it's not totally obvious to me yet that we will release it for like $10 subscribers. Like, but we are more but we might actually release it for like only pro members that have a yearly subscription or something at first, just to both reduce the number of people using it so we can watch things, and because it's maybe a little more of a pro feature. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit, so we don't historically like push different features to different tiers. I'm debating on doing it again because it also makes the moderation more powerful. So like if somebody buys like a yearly pro membership, you're like putting $600 down. So basically, if you get banned and we don't refund you, it's like it hurts. And so I think it's one of those situations where you almost have to you have to put a non-refundable deposit down in order to have access to features that could be abused more. And so I don't know if that's something we should do, but it's something I'm thinking about doing. I know it's definitely not ideal because it does discriminate a little bit versus people who don't have as much money, but it might make it easier for us to release certain things at the onset that might otherwise, have too many people trying to abuse it too fast. I think we're pretty confident that we can make it pretty safe. We're going to make the jobs a lot more expensive because we'll be throwing a lot more AI at it to try to make sure that it's safe. So, but you know, I think we generally feel good that we could make it good, and it is very fun. So, and it's like pretty magical. So you can kind of like, it's like you're making the world more imaginative. And I've been really enjoying using it. It's obviously very powerful. It's obviously very fun. You can obviously use it for good versus evil. But I mean, it might actually be good to kind of release it to a set of people and kind of get people talking about it more, because it's obviously going to be a big part of the future. And whether or not we do it, it's something that everyone's going to be able to do. And so, um, oh no, the hive mind thing just crashed.
It might have.
No,
I'm messaging Ivan about it right now.
Ivan, Ivan, all the questions, they're gone. Oh no. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. Ivan, bring it back. Um, anyway, I'm gonna keep talking. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're thinking. Depending on how confident we are about the moderation, we may release it to with some limits. And then depending on how we feel after releasing it with limits, we may drop the limits. But I could see a universe where, like, yeah, I'm a little bit on the fence. Like, it would be nice to have more features on the higher priced tiers for us, like to motivate people to support us for like a year. But yeah, it's hard to say. I'm on the fence. We might make the jobs pretty expensive, so it might be a little too expensive anyway for the basic. But yeah, I'm not sure. So we're thinking about these things. We don't know the answers, but these are just, we're being transparent about things we're thinking about. Yep. And I suppose we could also release people who have a lot of images. Yeah, or have been a member for a long time. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Um, And so, what else? And then there's the editor, there's the big batch personalization, and then there is the sort of like general website pushing people to personalize more. Those are probably the three biggest things we're working on that are short-term releases. We were looking at a 6.2. I think the company is just broadly not enthusiastic about it right now. So I think it's less likely we're going to release it. The biggest thing the 6.2 seems to do is like, I think we can like get the boobs down a little bit, but then it might like put bathing suits on people. Like it might like make it hard to do like a shirtless dude or something. Or like even a shirtless ogre. So I think we weren't like totally happy with that. So we wanted to like tune it more, but we're sort of like, eh. And so I'm just sort of like, we're not really sure if that's enough to release it. Like we could probably do other things to get the boobs down. And we could we had some cool things that showed that the multilingual aspects were working a lot better, meaning that like whatever the new sort of systems we're doing that are going to be in V7, we definitely could. It's definitely going to be much better at different languages, which is great. I was very impressed by how much better the multilingual is going to be for future models. I know maybe most people here speak English because they're listening to me on office hours, but sometimes like mannerism, like certain euphemisms, I don't know if euphemism is the word, slang and euphemisms like are not going to be caught very well, and so I think it will be caught better in the future. Idioms, yeah, idioms will work better. Colloquialisms will work better. Yeah, exactly. Um, And I feel really excited about having more multilingual support. I think it will help people in all the other countries use and express themselves a lot better. Um, I Yeah, so I think the batch 8 and the personalization and the image editor are probably the biggest things coming soon. There's not really any technological barriers on getting those features out. They're mostly UI and moderation, so I think they're relatively low risk. I would say the editor is already fun, so we're just blocked on moderation and making it a little nicer, which we know we can make it. And then the batch 8 is a little bit more of a major change. If we do the batch 8 personalization on by default, we might actually call that like 6.2 because it'll be like a total change to the user flow in a way that might be kind of disruptive for regular people. So, having them let them going back to the old thing might be important. So we might call that 6.2. It's not just a bigger grid. It'd be like a bigger grid with like a very different type of batch variation. So like it would be a bigger grid, but it would be a bigger grid, but a higher variety of images. And then we would change the flow so that you would kind of like generally never get the image you want on the first try. But then when you click a button on the batch 8, you're very likely to get something that you do like. And then as it sees you do that over and over again, it will naturally personalize more. That's kind of what we're thinking. And I think it will work. We don't know if it'll work well, but we're pretty sure it's going to work well. And so we're going to try to test that within the week and start to get a feel for it. I'm pretty excited about that. If that works, I think that's going to be pretty revolutionary. Um, and what else? Okay. Other things that are going on. Video models are continuing to look better. We're training the video models. They're feeling good. They get better every week. We probably want to throw more computers at it, but they're also like massaging the data because a lot of like the average video on the internet is lower quality than the average image, is their belief. And so they're kind of, trying to throw out like more and more of the bad video, like quality stuff. And cleaning up the data and getting the data pipelines in. And as they kind of get that massaged more and more, it's working better and better. And as it works better and better, we get more and more confident at like throwing a lot of money at it. A lot of money. It's going to be trying to do a Trump. I couldn't quite do a Trump. I'm not sure. The server bill is going to be huge. Not looking forward to spending a lot of money on the video model, but I think we are getting ready to scale up the video model training because, yeah, I mean, everything's just working. So, and the thing that's kind of nice is like when you put a Midjourney image into a video thing from another company, I feel like the image kind of like melts in image quality immediately because the model is usually not capable of reduplicating the Midjourney image. Whereas for ours, because we're kind of fine tuning an existing Midjourney model, like you kind of animate the image and it doesn't melt, it just kind of stays looking good. So I think the team feels pretty confident that for that reason alone, it's going to be great. But there are still a lot of details. So I think at this point, it's very likely that there's a video model released before the end of the year. But it's probably not going to be in the next month. Just because I think when we have everything done, we might train it for a month almost, and then we'll have like our interpolators and upscalers for the video too, potentially. So it's kind of like three things we have to do. None of them are scary. We think we can get the cost to be relatively low, but it will be more expensive than an upscale. But we're feeling pretty good. The whole team is like a little surprised even by it, because we thought it would be harder. I think we're still optimistic about some 3D models on a similar time frame. We are working on gathering the 3D data for the 3D model, and the data is looking better every day. And once we have the data, we think the 3D model is going to be a lot easier to do than the video. More data than 3D and is easier to learn. And so we're hoping to have like something like an upscale that turns into video and something like an upscale that turns into 3D. So be able to make an image and then go from image to video or go from image to 3D. That's kind of the plan. And we think both will look really great. V7, we've been training. The V7, the way that it works is that we go through a training phase, then a tuning phase, then a testing phase, and then we release. So we're currently in the training phase for V7. If everything works perfectly, the training phase, the tuning phase, and the testing phase is usually about a 5-week process. However, in this case, we are hitting our first major bugs during the training. So we have some bugs in our data, the model, and so we're gonna have to retrain. You have to restart the training. And so every time you restart the training, you lose a week, but you learn something and you fix some bugs. And so this is the sort of buggy, expensive, grueling, frustrating, but holy process of making the best model in the world. So we're moving towards it, and we just made our first bugs, and we caught both bugs roughly around the same time, which is good. The more bugs you catch, the more likely you are to not have to keep restarting it over and over again. So we are working on fixing the model bug and the data bug. And then that's going to be another week. And let's see. What else? Video models, 3D models, V7 model. The V7 model we're hoping can be faster, better, and smarter. Better at languages, more knowledge, better at words and understanding prompts. And I really want to make it faster. We have some ideas on how to make the image models a lot faster. Every time we try to make it faster, but not make it more expensive, usually it just gets worse. So I think we're gonna try to have like a super turbo mode at some point. I don't know if we'll call it super turbo or we'll call it turbo or super mega ultra metal Agumonterimon. Sorry, it's a Digimon reference. I wasn't a huge fan of the show, but the basically, yeah, ludicrous speed. We're thinking of doing something that's extra fast, but still the same quality, but more expensive, basically. I think it would be like batch 1, which would help a little bit on the costs, but it'd be very fast. Anyway. I'm looking forward to that a lot. I really think that our user interfaces at this point are limited by the speed of the image generation, maybe even more than the intelligence of the image generation. But it's been really hard about getting it faster. We have some ideas. We could definitely make V6 twice as fast again, but I think the team right now would rather focus on optimizing V7. So we're putting more people towards V7 right now, which is good. I think we've been a little unhappy with the depth control net, but we have a new version, and then we made a new version. So we're gonna keep testing it and see if we like it. I am a little bit more excited about the image editor right now. But I'm hopeful that the depth reference could be really fun too in some world. I think a problem with the depth reference is that it's like confusing for people, like what is this doing? Whereas the image editor is not as confusing. So we may have to like, we're still thinking about how we're gonna integrate it into the product. Maybe it all goes into the editor. And we're thinking making the editor different, like the images in there might be like private by default, and then we may also like not save them by default. So you might have like a session and you have to save things from the session or something. We're thinking about kind of changing it up a bit. And what else is going on? What else is going on? A lot of new projects. The hardware team is recruiting. They're interviewing a lot of people. We're gonna try to announce some hardware projects this year. So I hope everybody's excited about that. There's actually multiple hardware projects going on. So you can be excited about that. It's not just one. There's more than one. There might be more than two. There's definitely more than one. I'm not going to say exactly how many. And that's going to be exciting. There's also going to be some standalone products this year that are not purely making images. The storytelling team is working on getting a version of the storytelling out to guides and mods for testing. And then if people like it, we're going to try to release our storytelling stuff for everyone. Storytelling, I think you shouldn't think of it as a product. I think you should think of it more as an experiment and as a fun sandbox to play in. But I think it's going to be pretty cool. I want to say more about it, but I kind of want to let it be a surprise because I just think that that's more fun in this case. Storytelling was kind of a way to like build little worlds together, you know, rather than kind of making images. It's a little bit more of like world building centric rather than image centric. Yeah, there is a new UI. It is a different UI, a totally different UI. It's pretty cool. We are working on improving the explore page and trying even to have like maybe like a better personalization for the explore page. I don't know when it's going to come out exactly. We've been having like a little bit of trouble with it, but I think are making progress. The problem with the explore page is that if we use the data from all the users, people click on too many hot chicks. And then the whole front page is just like stereotypical. I'm just gonna call it hot chicks, okay? Like I'm sure there's like a more PC way of saying it. I mean, they're not even necessarily my type, but let's just say it because it sounds fun, you know? Imagine just like the entire explore page. It's just like hot chicks. And then we tried doing a thing where we use the demographic data to filter out all the men. It's really funny. I just have to say this because I thought this was a really funny story. I was like, you know what? Let's use the demographic data and throw out all the men, you know? Let's see what the women page looks like. And you know what the women page looks like? The women page, it doesn't have hot chicks. It's got cats. You guessed it. Lots of cats. And so, honestly, I really like cats. However, I don't think we want the front page to be just hot chicks or just cats. So I think we're going to kind of call this a sort of we're breaking the problem down into sort of two things. It's going to be, some combination. The default page will be like a sparse. We're trying to make it sparse. So it's like not, maybe you always get like you get 2 cats, 2 hot chicks, some picture, 2 cars, like one of every stereotype, but there's some variation. And then as you click things, we want it to kind of personalize down so it shows you more of the stuff that you like. And we have a lot of evidence that if we can do this right, people will be really happy. And if we do it wrong, then you send the cats to the sort of like high testosterone dudes, and then you send the hot chicks to all the regular, all the nice, beautiful ladies on the platform who are like, I already know what that looks like. And yeah, kind of funny. It's kind of funny. And I think we have like a particularly sophisticated group of people here. So it's funny that even with the like sophisticated community we have, it's a problem. And we're going to do our best to make the Explore page really great. I hope people enjoyed the Explore page. We really do think it can be better. So we're excited to like make it a lot better. One area we're going to try to make better in particular is we're going to try to make it better for like other aspect ratios. So right now, the majority of users make square images or landscape images, and portrait images are actually are like third on the aspect ratio. But like on the website, it's almost all portraits because of the way the masonry grid, they call it, looks like, because of the way it tiles the images out. So we're going to try to also move towards a more sophisticated masonry and ranking system. So that way you can see a lot of landscape aspect ratios and square aspect ratios and portrait aspect ratios. And you can be happy. And I think that's going to feel a lot better. Also, we did release the Niji personalization. I forgot to mention that. But if you like the Niji model, you should use personalization. And if you don't like the Niji model, you should consider trying the Niji model with personalization. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say something controversial, but I don't usually use the Niji model. I am not Japanese. It's like kind of tuned to be Japanese, and it's like not exactly my style. However, when I spent some time personalizing it, it actually is really nice now, and I really like it. So even though I don't normally use Niji, when I personalize Niji, I like it a lot. And I have used Niji more since personalization has been released than I ever used Niji previously. So I only ranked like 200 images. It takes 5 minutes. You should try it. You should try it. In general, if you're not using personalization, you should try it. It's much better. My biggest regret right now on all of Midjourney is that not everybody is using personalization. So honestly, kind of my biggest goal is to make sure everyone uses it because it really does make your life better. You don't have to worry about skipping images for personalization. It's not trying to figure out if you like an image, it's trying to figure out which image you think is better. So that's like, it can learn very subtle things from that, and it's very robust. It's not trying to make a lot of decisions from one image. That's why you got to rate 200 of them. 200 is a lot of images. It can learn a lot of subtle stuff from that. So I really think that it's great. You should try them. It improved my life. If you don't like either image, as long as you like one image more than the other, you should still click it, in my opinion. If you hate both images and you're like, I can't choose, then just push skip. But you got to be like really cray about it, you know? You got to be like, ah, oh." Okay, now skip. You can push the skip button. But I, in general, don't push the skip button. We put it there for your own mental sanity. We put it there for your mental sanity, not because I think it makes any damn difference in the algorithm. Once you rank 200 images, you do --p after the prompt, and it turns on the personalization. Or you can click the settings and click turn on personalization. Okay, I was just saying earlier, I like the Shaka T, but I like the personalization even more than the Shaka T, okay? I like the personalization more than the Catalina Crunch. I like the personalization more than the Peach, okay? It's because the personalization is made for me, you know? It's like the Shaka Tea wasn't made for me. The Peach wasn't made for me. Those are nice things, but the personalization really tries to make the system for you. So it's really great. And I just want to emphasize again that everyone should be using it. And right now, people are not using it as much because I think it's just like not front and center enough and it takes 5 minutes. So that's my biggest regret on the platform right now. And we're going to try to do our best to get everybody on it. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the hive mind. Earlier, people were voting on questions, and I know it got broketed, but now I have a screenshot, so I can read the screenshot off. Okay. What do you see as the next big barrier to break in the research of Midjourney? Gosh, that's a good question. What a wonderful question. You know, it's kind of funny. I think we're in a weird place where it's not really about research. It's just about hard work. Like we do research, but at the end of the day, we know how to make the model better. We know how to make it faster. We know how to do video. We know how to do 3D. We know how to do drawing. We know how to do real time. And it's just a matter of getting it done and bringing it together. And then as we start to bring it together, we bring the real time with the 3D, with the video, with the supermodels. We start to get to this real time open world simulation. And I think once we start to get to the real time open world simulation, then there is a lot of stuff to research. How do you make it cheap? How do you make it good? How do you push something off the table like a cat? How do you have a conversation with something? All of those things are serious open questions. And to me, that's the biggest frontier of research. But right now, we're a little bit in a transitionary state where we have to create these new pillars of the next generation simulation model individually before we put them together. And then I think when we put them together, that's when things get serious. That's when we start to open up to the new medium. That's when things are going to get really fun. And that's what I'm most excited about. I think the number 2 biggest research thing is a little bit around objective beauty, like sort of objective sublime beauty. I think we know a bit about how to personalize things, but I think we're still trying to understand sort of like what's the most generically beautiful you can make it? How do you make everyone happy? And then how do you sort of hone down as fast as possible and as deep as possible to the most beautiful thing that is just for you? I think those are probably the 2 most interesting things for me right now in terms of the general stuff that you all are using. Yep. Question 1. Question 2 was the storytelling team. I'll say it one more time just because it was highly rated. The storytelling team is working on bringing a version of the storytelling tool to the guides and mods so they can test things. And then as we test things and as we learn from that, we'll make the decision about the release schedule for everybody. I would say that I would be very disappointed if we didn't release something to everybody this year, but it could be a lot sooner. So I don't really know what happens when we hit the testing phase. We're going to learn a lot. I think it's already pretty cool, but I haven't actually been able to use it that easily yet because it's not really up for everyone to use. But I'm excited to see more people using it, and it has a lot of people working on it are really great. They've made a lot of great storytelling tools in the past, in academia, and I'm very excited to see what they make with the sort of blue sky of Midjourney. Okay, next question. When we talk about 3D, are we talking about a single object, full scene, or the ability to move around? So the way when we talk about 3D, my goal for the first version, this is the first version, it's going to change over time. The first goal of 3D is to start with a Midjourney image and say, I want to make it 3D. And so that goal is for anything that you make an image of, it will now become 3D. What does it mean for it to be 3D? It means you'll be able to move the camera, and that's it. You'll be able to move the camera. I think we haven't decided what happens if you move the camera too much. It's possible that the way it'll work is if you move the camera too much, it'll get fuzzy, and then you'll have to push a button, and it'll make it not fuzzy. That's probably what we'll currently do. I don't know yet, but that's something that we're thinking of doing. Because, if you make it 3D and then you like move to a mountain far away, like, we can only do so much. The cool thing about the 3D is once it renders the 3D, it's like instant. It's like 60 frames a second. You can just move around. But the idea is like as you move outside the bounds of the computation, we are not going to automatically recompute things. Maybe in the future we will, but for the first version, we're going to compute 3D. You can move around, and as you move outside the bounds, it's going to look funny, but hopefully cool. And then you can be like, bake it for me. If it was Johnny Bravo, he'd be like, bake it, baby. And it would then come back into focus again, and then you could move more around. That's kind of how we're thinking. It's not Gaussian splats. It's not polygons. We're inventing kind of a new NERF-like representation. Is technical. NERF stands for neural radiance fields. It's not exactly NERF. It's not exactly Gaussian splatters. It's a new thing. That's because we have a really great person leading the project who actually invented a lot of the original NERF technology. So we could just make a new thing. We're going to make a new format. And I know that's going to be bad for the video game developers. I'm sorry. I know you want to mesh. But I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be controversial. But the average Midjourney image just looks better than the average video game. And if we tried to make the 3D into meshes, it would just make everything look worse. And maybe we'll do that in the future because honestly, I understand meshes can be useful. But for the first version, I want to just let people kind of like move around and explore and feel the space of the thing. And I think making meshes, doing conventional computer graphics would just be kind of just make it look bad. I am sorry. One day we will have other things so you can 3D print it and you can put it in a Fortnite or whatever. I'm not saying literally Fortnite, but like, a normal thing. But not a priority. My first priority is to let people move and feel a sense of space. I think we might do a thing at some point where you can like, if I was going to extend it, a second thing we might do is maybe we'll create like a camera path system where you could move the camera through the space and then it would like pre-render it out into a video where everything is static, but the camera is moving. And so I think for a lot of video use cases, people just want the camera to move. And if you just want the camera to move, then just like bake it into 3D, move the camera, and then bake it back out into video. And I think that would be a good flow, which would be useful for a lot of things. That's like a V2. It's not V1, but that's something that to me makes a lot of sense. All right, moving to the next thing. How's Niji video going? So the video model is not specifically for Niji. It just takes an image and makes it move. So it should work for both Niji and non-Niji. And our personal opinion right now is that it's much easier to animate illustrative styles than photographic styles. We're just much more fine-eyed on on video. Okay. What are some of the most interesting distinctions of regional image style preferences? Yeah, so we delayed this a little bit. We want to release it. Before we release it, we want to like write up a paper about it. And so that's kind of delayed behind all the other projects, but we're going to release it at some point. We're going to write up a nice little paper about it. I think kind of like the sort of most surprising and least surprising, so the least surprising thing is that people like images of things that remind them about aspects of their current lives. So if you're Asian, you're more likely to like a character that's also Asian. If you're Latino, you're more likely to like characters that's also Latino. If you are in Germany and you ask for a city, you're more likely to like the architecture of the city to look German. You could imagine if you're older, you actually like things that look older in the images. Like you tend to see, oh, I like that old style. It reminds me of something. Or, oh, that like has a retro look. I remember that. Whereas now the things that are less obvious is it seems like younger people like sort of brighter, more extreme colors. That's kind of interesting. It seems like women tend to prefer lighter, like more white, like more lighter images, and men prefer darker images, and that women tend to prefer sort of less saturated colors, maybe like more pastel colors even. And then if you ask it for like the like bisexual aesthetic preferences, it tends to actually do like bisexual lighting, like purple and pink and whatever, which is kind of funny. If you push it towards just people who mark themselves as gay, it tends to like do stronger lighting, like more dramatic lighting. I don't know why. If you ask it to do the preferences of men, it tends to like make all the women in bikinis. If you tend to do the preferences of women, it makes them look like normal fucking people. And if you ask it to do the preferences of lesbians on women, it also tends to look like normal people. And if you ask it to do the preferences of gay men on men, it just like rips all their shirts off. Kind of like the equivalent of what men would do to women if I think we had shirtless pictures of women in the data set, obviously, but we don't. So it seems like that the sort of like sexualization is us around like men being attracted to women. And it's more just men. Like men want to rip the shirt off of everything. If I had to make a generalization, that seems to be what we see. And interestingly, I think this would be surprising for men. I don't know if this is surprising for women. Women don't seem to want that. I don't know what that is, but it just doesn't seem to be there. Women are not surprised, they say. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I would say as a man, I'm like a little surprised, but I think I find it interesting. Um, so those are some examples of some things we're seeing, and it's really funny to see it. Oh, I mean, we're also seeing like among regional differences. Well, so there's a lot of difference between like over 65 and under 18 aesthetics. There's a lot of difference between Asia and like America and Europe. But the difference between America and Europe aesthetically is less than the difference between Japan and China. So the intra regional aesthetic variance is higher among Asian countries than among Western countries. And that might be surprising to some people, but if you were like really like if you were like a scholar of Asian art history, you might be less surprised because like in China, say porn is kind of illegal, and then in Japan, you kind of have crazy porn everywhere. And so like the way that sexualization occurs in different countries is really different. And as an example, like Japan, the Japanese aesthetic tends to be more sexualizing than the Chinese aesthetic. And the Chinese aesthetic tends to be, I almost say like more European. It's kind of and it has like some other like ancient things to it. It has like I mean, maybe, I don't know, I shouldn't pick sides, but the Chinese aesthetic to me is really interesting. The Korean one, I think everyone knows what the Korean aesthetic looks like. It's kind of more K-pop, but it's great. I think probably among all the regional ones, the ones people would be most surprised by would be the Chinese one, because I think that like most people outside of China are not exposed to sort of like high-end Chinese design sensibility because you haven't gone to Shanghai, or maybe you're not looking at Chinese streetwear. But like, to be honest, China does fucking good design, and we don't see it as much because the internet is kind of different. It's like a lot of different. I think that I would like more cross-cultural economic stuff there. But like particularly, I mean, like Shanghai, like designers in Shanghai and like the art coming out of Shanghai is incredible. And it's really cool to, I mean, obviously like Japan is great too, but I think even if you asked a lot of Japanese people right now, a lot of them feel like anime has gotten a lot worse. Like they're like the golden age of anime is like 80s, 90s, up to maybe some 2000s, but then like anime's gone downhill artistically. So like I think a lot of the Japanese people, I haven't heard as much of this belief that like whereas I think China is still, I would say, is like ascending in their artistic stuff. Uh and I you can see that. And then Korea, I think, is kind of in the middle. Like they've definitely found their own unique style, and it's very successful and it's international, even in a way that the Chinese stuff is not. But it's also like a little bit more. I think it's a little less nuanced, maybe. I haven't looked at India as. I think India is more confusing to me, but there's like an India style. But we also don't have a lot of Indian users, so we don't have great data yet for three things I'm interested in. We don't have enough for India. We don't have enough for Africa. We don't have South America. We have a little bit of, but it's not. It doesn't seem super different. But I think there's evidence that Africa should look different, or at least sub-Saharan Africa should look different. There's evidence that India should look different, and then we should see more. We want more colorblind people because we'd love to have a colorblind mode, but we don't quite have enough colorblind people yet. And so, but we could definitely see some cool stuff, and I'm very excited to release it, but it's probably going to be in a month. It's probably not going to be this week. And I know it's really interesting, but I really want to get default personalization out. It's driving me crazy. I want everyone to have personalization on, and I just can't quite. Well, the more people that are on personalization, the more data we're going to have, and then it's going to get better in general. All of our demographic stuff. The demographic stuff is learning from people using personalized models. We haven't done a lot of like African American and Latin American studies yet. I would say the things that are kind of obvious is like with respect to ethnicities, people like to see characters that share their ethnicity. Not a huge surprise. I would say to me, it's more of a surprise that women don't want dudes to rip their shirts off than that ethnicities tend to prefer seeing pictures of their own ethnicities when they are vague about, say, the ethnicity of a character. Um, it's really interesting, actually, that you can definitely see like America, on average, does want more ethnic uh, diversity than, say, like some of the European countries do. So you can see if a country is less ethnically diverse, it also tends to prefer less ethnic diversity in the images. So you definitely see like a lot of things like that. It's very interesting. Anyway, I've been ranting a little bit. but I love this stuff. It's science. And if we could just like, if the market sometimes could just like calm the fuck down and stop trying to rate, stop trying to like release kind of like shitty, half-assed products and their sort of, yeah, crazy ego-driven rat race, we could, I think we would focus more exclusively on those things. But we're gonna get it out and we've already got the data and it's great. We're gonna do one more survey on this topic in the next 2 months. In the next 2 weeks. Where we ask people to do one more survey, and the survey is around understanding the values of people, understanding your values, and understanding the sort of like primal sentiments in which you view the world. And so what we want to do is we want to take all this data and put it together. We look at sort of like principles and values and sort of primal views of the prime, like, are people intrinsically good or are they bad? Is the world safe? Is the world dangerous? Like, is community most important or freedom? These are kind of cool things. We want to take that together. And then we want to take the demographic data, and then we want to take the other sort of like psychometric data. And then we want to try to put it all together, and we want to say, okay, we got 5, 6 things, and we want to try to understand where do aesthetics come from. And I think that's going to be really cool. And I'm very curious about that. I think it's going to be a really big deal. Like where does aesthetics come from? We can start to look at this quantitatively for the first time. And I think it's like, I think it'll be whatever we find, I think will be meaningful. So I'm very excited about that. One of the things I'm very grateful about Midjourney is that we have the opportunities to do research like that and answer questions that no one's really been able to tackle before. All right, next question. Will we be able to use modified Midjourney images in the video tool? I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe. I could see that being an extension of the editor. V7 when? Well, it's definitely, I think like if everything goes well, then V7 would get released in a month. But already we're hitting bugs, so that's gonna push things a week. I think we're probably gonna hit bugs for a while. So I can't really say when it's gonna be released, but more than a month, less than the end of the year. And so I think this is going to be a big year because we're kind of going to release 3D. We're going to release video. We're going to release V7. We're going to have these new personalization modes. Next year, the sort of Midjourney experience, which would be like totally different. And I think that's going to be really exciting. And I hope everyone is pumped for that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Niji 6.6.2, not happening. I'm sorry. What's the most interesting use of Midjourney you've seen lately? There was a cool person on Twitter making crazy ass images, and they were using all the features: style reference, character reference, image references, they were just like using everything. And it was just making really fucking cool pictures. I don't know, I just liked it. I liked the pictures. Liked the pictures. They were great. Do seeds behave differently in Niji? No. Any personalization update coming soon? Hopefully, that's the new thing we're trying to work on with the big batch. We might change a lot of things all at once. Could we get a mode between very subtle and very strong? Yeah, I really want to do that. I really want to do that. The problem with making more levels of variation is that we need like a naming scheme. So I've been wanting to make it like SML, like small, medium, large, because that makes sense. But like I can't be like subtle, less subtle. Really, like I gotta like we need like a new naming scheme. Okay, levels are interesting, but that's like kind of confusing. But yeah, we're thinking I do want to make I am gonna I think sometime in the next month we're going to expose ways of controlling both the amount of variation and the amount of upscaling creativity. It's not hard to do. We could just do it, but we don't have enough people on the web team. We need more front-end people. People. Anyone knows anyone? Can somebody make us a website? Is there a doctor out there? Basically, we don't have enough web people. And we will do something. We will improve CREF in V7. Yeah, is there a chance that pro users will be able to do tasteful nudity? You know, I do think about this sometimes. Like, I like the idea of, well, so I think if we do nudity, it's not going to be the pro thing. It'll be like a pro yearly subscription, because you gotta cough up $600. Not because we make more money in that way, but because like if you do something bad, we're gonna ban you and you're gonna lose the $600. So like I think it's important that if we create more risky features in the future, there should be a stronger punishment. So I think right now, if somebody does a $10 subscription and then you ban them, they're out $10. I think $10, it's a lot in Brazil, it's a lot in India, but there are too many horny dudes in the world for $10 is not enough money. But I think if you have a pro yearly subscription, $600 is a lot for most people. Like $600 is like an iPhone. How many people are going to buy an iPhone and then smash it with a hammer? Somebody's going to do it, but most people will not do it. And so I think there's something about that which might be okay. I don't know if I'm going to just do long-term users, because we have some very horny long-term users. You know who you are. I'm not banning you, but I don't necessarily trust you either. So there's definitely some people who push the line. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, I'm an artist. You're going to say, boobs are natural. You're going to say, I'm French, and at the beach, we get plenty of those. But it's like always a dude. It's like pretty much always a dude. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, I'm mad at you for saying that, David. And now, because I'm mad at you, I want you to delete all of my data from like GDPR to get back at me. And we'll delete your data. That's fine. But it's still not motivating us. Still not motivating us. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, I think we need a way to punish people for doing bad things. Or to rather than punish, we need to be able to disincentivize people. And so I think that, yeah, I think that might be the thing, but I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. And to be honest, I'm not like super obsessed with boobs. So I'm not every day I don't wake up and I'm like, boobies, boobies, boobies. It's not me. I'm sorry. So I'm not super motivated to do boob stuff. I'm not super motivated to like cover every boob up too, because I'm not like, I'm Jewish. Like I'm not that Jewish, but like I was raised Jewish. It's just not like part of the culture. You know, like it's not a boob focused religion. That's it. Not the thing. It's just like not a key. It's not in the 10 commandments. It's not, I don't know of a section of the Torah on it that says thou shalt not boob. It's just not like, it's not a part of my culture. And I know there are other cultures where it is, you know, just not, I don't think about it that much. That said, I have seen some good nudity in tests. Like there was one time I saw like a mermaid and it was like $1 billion avatar, like quality like mermaid and it looked great. And the mermaid had no top on, which kind of makes sense. They're a mermaid. And I didn't feel offended. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, this is like a believable mermaid, right? And so I've seen examples of things where I feel like it should be okay, but it's not a key thing I think about. It's not a thing I'm motivated about. I think I'm most motivated right now to do the image editor. I think the image editor is going to be the first like more dangerous thing we release and see how it goes. And I think that will inform us of what happens when we give people more power. Yeah, and that's it. Make sure you get enough vitamin D. Yep, that's on the question list, which is interesting. I think it's like a large percentage of everybody has vitamin D deficiencies, and you don't really overdose on it easily. I mean, this is not medical advice, but just yeah, get some vitamins. Make sure the vitamins have vitamin D in it. Is the ultimate goal to augment human imagination or to manifest human imagination? That's a really great question. Man, you guys are on fire today. I think the ultimate goal is to manifest human imagination. What I often talk about in sort of the mission of Midjourney is that there's a lot of problems in the world. And the only way to solve the problems is to make new things. And we can't just make one thing. We can't just make two things. We're inheriting a lot of things just by being alive. In fact, I was reading some ancient Chinese poetry recently called The Poems of Cold Mountain. God, I love this. Translated by Burton Watson. This is too geeky. Anyway, it was like the scribbled poems of a hermit on top of a cold mountain 3,000 years ago. And one of the little rocks he scribbled on, it talked about how one of the hardest things about being human is that you only have 100 years, but you're sort of you have only 100 years to live, but you're born inheriting 1,000 years of woes. And there's this idea that, we are born with sort of so many things, like so much history behind us. And the only way out of it is to make things. But if we want to really get out of it, if we want to actually catch up on all that debt, we need sublime powers of creation, like sublime, incredible, unbelievable powers of creation. And I think that if those sort of sublime, powerful powers of creation can be made, then we can use those things to remake the world. And so I think a lot about the process of creation, the pillars of creation, and the infrastructure of creation, and how we can build those things to kind of create these powers. And so I think a lot about, in my opinion, the most important thing of the next 10 years is to build infrastructure, to build tools, to build these things, these sublime powers of creation that allow us in the subsequent time to remake the world. And I think that we have the intelligence, we have the desire, but I think it's really hard, You have 100 years to fix 1,000 years of woes. We need more juice. I'm going to just bring it down and call it juice. I can bring it up and call it sublime powers of creation. But we can all just say juice. We need more juice. We need more creative juice. But it's going to be like a juice flood. It's going to be like the juice guy who smashes through the wall. It's going to be intense. And so I think about that a lot. So, I think right now it is we tend to talk about making people more imaginative. But I do think that just by making people more imaginative, more stuff does manifest in the world. But I do think that it will eventually go beyond that. And I think we do want to really sort of the sublime powers of creation is the thing I think about. That was a good question. I have not read Yuval's book. Could serious employers be invited to join to find what? Oh, can there be like a Midjourney portfolio website? I mean, it's hard because people can just like copy each other's prompts, which is kind of good. Like, it's good that people can copy each other's prompts. But then what does a portfolio mean if you could just like copy somebody else's prompts and just like, you know, like post it, right? So I think it's a little hard for us to do portfolios in a universe where we're also trying to share everything that we're doing with each other all the time. So, and in general, like I kind of want to avoid hyper commercialization of Midjourney as a community. I think that one of the things I love about entering the Midjourney zone is sort of outside of the Midjourney zone. People talk too much about scarcity. People talk a lot about zero-sum games. It's like me or you. We don't have enough. But the cool thing is inside the Midjourney community, we have a little bit of the future. It's kind of like a post-scarcity zone. We've all got a lot of pictures. We all make a lot of pictures. We got too many pictures. We don't even care about pictures. I'll give you prompts out the ass. We're kind of existing in this post-scarcity state. And I think that's kind of beautiful. And I think that's worth preserving. And I think it's something I want to expand more than I want to create commercial portfolios. And I know that there's some give and take here. Creating a post-scarcity zone also prevents some people from like dollar maxing their Midjourney skills. And you know what? I think that's okay. We have other things to do. We're on the path to open world simulations and sublime powers of creation. And it's okay if you make less money. I mean, I know some people need the money. It hurts to say that, but if it's one or the other, I'm going to make a place that I like to be. That's inspiring for me. It's not about me, but if it's a place I like to be and inspiring to me, I think it's going to be inspiring to other people, and it's going to make a bunch of cool things, and it's going to end up being worth it. That's my risk, you know? Like maybe there's some world where it turns out the only thing people care about is making stock photos and t-shirts. If that was everything, then, you know, somebody else makes a t-shirt maker and someone's like, oh my God, somebody makes good t-shirts. Nobody wants to use Midjourney anymore. And then we blow up and we die and we're like, oh no, no more t-shirts. We should have made t-shirts. But that's okay. If that's what it is, I'll take that risk and I don't want to make just a t-shirt business, frankly. So at some point, I'd rather make a new business that's not just t-shirts. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make a place that I like, a product that I like, a space that I like. And again, it's not about me, but to be honest, anytime you make something good, you kind of have to like it yourself. It's really hard to make something good that you don't like. It's like kind of a normal. And maybe some artists, you know, they try to make art and they never really like their own art, you know? Most things are only a shadow of the dream. The shadow of the dream that we had to make it. But you still have to have the dream and you still have to try to make the thing that you love yourself. So all I can say is that I'll try to take the same care here. That same care here. And that's the kind of care I try to do. And that's, I think, why we're going to always be a little different, you know? I mean, there's enough companies trying to dollar max for some venture capitalist trying to get a 10% return on like the University of Pennsylvania's endowment. And I don't think we have a lot to add there. And I hope that everybody gets what they want. But that gives us space to want something different. So hopefully that ends up being good. It's a bit of a bet, but it's a bet I would feel happy making. And if it's like, yeah. As Churchill said, if we fail, at least we'll fail while daring greatly, and our place will never be with those poor injury souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. Not that we're fighting Nazis. I'm not calling anyone a Nazi. I'm not gonna go Kanye on this, but I don't know. There's a good quote. There's actually a good little speech that they gave. Honestly, I can't hate Kanye. What is David's relationship with caffeine? I don't drink caffeine. Sam Altman story? I'm not giving a Sam Altman story. I'm sorry. I don't think he would want me to give a Sam Altman story. Elon story? Elon would probably be okay with me giving a story. I mean, the story I usually give is like, Elon is really good at video games. Like, what the fuck? He's like hardcore. He's like a hardcore gamer. Like, I try to keep up with Elon, but I usually cannot. He's like a ripped druid called I Will Never Die, and he's like maxed out armor, maxed out HP, and if he does die, everyone goes down. Because you don't realize when you have Elon on your team, he is tanking. He is tanking for everyone. And if you lose the tank, if you lose the mega tank, everyone takes damage. And you are not ready for that damage. And I think that this is not actually just about Diablo. I think that this is also a little bit about human civilization. I think Elon, for better or for worse, is tanking a lot. He's taking a lot of damage on behalf of everyone, and you might not appreciate it, but some of that damage he's tanking would otherwise be going to you. And he is tanking a lot of damage. And it's a little heroic. And he is still a real person, and real people have their ups and downs, and all relationships have their ups and downs. But I think we should try to appreciate the humanity in people instead of trying to tear it down. Yeah. Anyway. Are you hiring interns? I wish we could have interns. We can't really have interns. The problem is that we don't have any managers. And all of the people on the team are just trying to make things. And the interns want mentorship and they want management, but they're not as productive as a normal full-time person. And so in general, it's hard to hire an intern. I think that the government should have like an intern subsidy thing, because I think internships are great, but for us, we will generally only hire an intern if they're like a very reasonable chance at being better than like the average full-time person we would hire. You know, because we're not getting them for a long time. There's going to be an overhead. So, it's either like we wish we could hire them long term, and we're just going to like take the hit. But in general, we don't do it. I'm sorry. I wish we could do it. If I could flip a switch and create like an intern paradise, I would flip the intern paradise switch. But right now, because Midjourney is remote, because Midjourney is predominantly very senior contributors, because we have very little management, it's not the best environment for interns or junior people. We would like to try to change the Midjourney team and environment so that we can be more welcoming of great junior people. And that's a priority for us this year. We're going to try to get new, more junior, like very talented junior people that are full-time and try to create an environment where we can build them up. But interns are like another level of juniorness because they're also aren't permanent, kind of. So like you only have them for a few months, which makes it harder, to be honest. Recruiting is really hard. We would love help from lots of people. We are front end help, data engineers, research engineers. Those are the main things. Hardware engineers. Those are the main things we're looking for right now. Careers at midjourney.com or hardware at midjourney.com if you do hardware. We're not doing a great job on the recruiting process, to be honest, because everybody likes working too much. They like, I like what I'm doing. I don't want to talk to people I don't know. I'm like, please, please talk to them. We're getting a little better. We are very remote right now. We're going to try to have some major offices in San Francisco, Tokyo, and London that are more in person. And I think when you have more in person, you can mentor junior people better. So we're going to try that. Yeah, I think that's it. That might be it. I wish I could I don't think I'm gonna put too much energy into. I feel like we have like a good flow going today, even though no one else is talking. I have good energy. I have a little bit more energy. I don't know what to do with my last 5 minutes of energy. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give everybody a lightning round that doesn't use the hive mind. So if there's any questions that I didn't answer, type them into VC text channel, and I will try to just lightning round some questions. Childhood story, could take too long, not doing it today. What's that drink called? Shaka tea? I don't think I'm hyped up because of Shaka tea. I think it's because I had a vitamin D deficiency. I've been feeling good since I had the vitamin D tablets, to be honest. An image in editor would be pulled into Midjourney, potentially, if you mark it. I think we'll have sessions. They won't all be saved by default. I don't understand the pixelation thing, sorry. We will use the hive mind more next time, but it crashed. I'm sorry. We have an idea to improve folder experience. We're going to try to improve the folder experience in the next month. We're probably not going to add subfolders immediately, but we have some cool ideas to improve folders. I would say that advanced personalization is delayed for now. We will add it, but we want to get the basic personalization onboarding better first. And we want, yeah. What's your karaoke song? I don't do karaoke. I'm sorry. I'm just like, feel like it's just not my culture. But karaoke is really interesting. There's an article about the history of karaoke. When we'll be able to join chat on mobile? I'm not sure. It's probably lower priority, but we would like to eventually do it. David, where are we going? Too vague. I'm sorry. I like the question though. Does ControlNet with muscles in the face? No. Why haven't you been able to hire front-end design engineers? I think we're just trying to figure out what we need. So we hired more web people, but the current web people are a little more back-end than we have front-end. So we need more front-end web people specifically. And I think that's been like a learning process. I've built a lot of things in my career. I've made hardware. I've made software. I've done AI. I've done design, but I haven't made a lot of websites. And I've never made a mobile app. So this is an area where I have a personal weakness as a leader and I'm learning. But luckily, there are other things we're doing well. And we're doing web well. I don't say we're not doing web well, but like there are other areas where we're doing like, where people like our stuff enough to deal with us not having a website at all for a year or two. So like we're doing something okay. Probably better than okay. We're doing something great. Yeah. And I'm pretty happy with the website. I use the website by default for everything except for /describe, which sucks, but we really will add that. We'll improve this. We'll improve the /describe thing. We are definitely going to improve. We are definitely going to hit the model with the horny bat in the future. Where are we going? Where are we going? We're going. We're going home. Do you prefer Midjourney people or animals? I make people more often than angels. I've been making a lot of angels lately. I don't know why. I started watching Scavenger's Reign. I keep trying to watch Scavenger's Reigns with friends, and then all my friends keep like bailing out of it. I don't have enough like TV show watching friends right now. Which is fine. I'm not like super into TV shows either, but I think me and Grimes want to try to make like a crazy San Francisco art movie thing where like we make people watch really obnoxious art stuff to try to make all the tech people more aesthetically aware. So maybe that'll be it. Um, yeah, we will have more upscaler stuff in the future. Can you talk about Midjourney in relation to Project North Star? Did Project North Star inspire the need for Midjourney? No, I would say North Star is unrelated to Midjourney. Those were two different projects. However, I think one day it will make sense to make a North Star 2. And that is not a thing I'm rushing towards, but it is a thing that probably should happen one day. I think AR is really cool. I think VR, a lot of mistakes have been made, terrible mistakes. We should all have VR headsets, but we don't because there was premature consolidation and a lot of really bad product people who basically didn't use VR at all, but were put in charge of billions of dollars. And I think the tech market failed the people when it came to both VR and AR. And it was not just tech, there's a lot of things that came into it. Big tech companies, small tech companies, crazy investors, bad expectations. A lot of things fucked up, but there will be a day where we will come back and it will be great. Regenerative medicine. I am into medicine. I would like to do more medicine stuff. Maybe there will be a Midjourney medical one day. Uh, I'm trying. Do you hire artists? Um, we don't have like an art team specifically. We have like very artistic, technical people. We don't have like a pure art group right now. Can I use Claude AI to make an MJ beater? I don't know what that means. I don't like using language models to prompt image models. I think it's kind of bad. My personal belief. Going to the moon. Yeah, moon's gonna be cool. I mean, I'm more interested in like turning Mercury into a processor cloud and industrializing Jupiter. But, the moon is good, and then Mars will be a great filter. Like only crazy people will go to Mars, so Mars will probably be like a great society. At least until we crack faster than light travel, that would change things a bit. Because then Mars and Earth are basically the same. Make Midjourney your journey. That's kind of a cool slogan. Wonderful world of stuff. Cool advertising slogan. If you have more advertising slogans, please dump them. Oh, that's a good slogan. Cool. I've been trying to brainstorm more slogan stuff. I'm trying not to be like super ad heavy though. When is Grimes coming back to office hours? So Grimes is just touring a lot right now, and she's very busy. She's going to be playing at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I think that's announced. Maybe she's not. Is she? Let's check it out. Is that maybe she's not. Okay. She's doing a lot of things right now. I'm not keeping track of her concerts. But Grimes is great. Um She'll be coming back. I'm actually trying to do I want to do like a Grimes session where I just ask everybody to help me make Midjourney swag. Maybe we'll do that next week. I think next week we'll do a Midjourney swag session where I want everyone to help me brainstorm Midjourney swag. So prepare yourself for Midjourney swag brainstorming so we can make the swaggiest Midjourney swag it's ever been swagged. We will create a swag hive mind, a swagathon. The power of 1,000 minds to create the most powerful swag that's ever been swagged. Swagorama. Swag Nation. We're going to do a swag session next time. That's going to be great. Swag is like, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a mug, purse, satchel, a backpack. Something that we can make for everybody that people can buy that has a Midjourney brand on it. I want more ideas for like Midjourney brand things, to be honest. Both swag and just brand stuff in general. So I think for the next 2 office hours, I'm gonna try to push everybody to help me brainstorm some visual things. And I think that might be really nice. A Midjourney beanie. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Send in designs. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Midjourney channel to showcase hardware and workflows. I think there's is there something like that? Like Midjourney show and tell in the world, maybe? Yeah, probably like in the world. We probably should have more. Yeah. We're gonna brainstorm next time. Midjourney vitamin D gummies. Lol. Yeah, I mean, I think we are in a post-scarcity zone inside of the Midjourney community. So here we have fun brainstorming. Outside of the post-scarcity zone, you can approach us from outside of the community and ask us to pay you to do design. And if an incredible designer came to us externally with an incredible portfolio and incredible pitch, we would love to hire those people. But so far, the average design firm that comes to me is like, we want a gig. We like gigs. We're gonna make you the giggiest gig, and then we're gonna get the fuck out. And it kind of honestly, there's like a gig mindset for a lot of freelancer and agencies that like mostly produces shit, and I don't like it. And I would love to hire more external design talent formally, but like the average sort of like formal design contract that's not like a full-time job is like somebody trying to get in and out as fast as possible, and they don't care. And I just don't have like the spiritual energy for it. But maybe what'll happen is we'll do some brainstorming, and there'll be some people who are particularly prolific, and maybe we'll just be like, hey, we'd like your help more. You know? So that might be the best way to try to have 500 people trying to make things and then trying to look for people who maybe we want to get more help from. Or maybe it turns out there's no individual person that has great ideas, but it's like the collective that kind of figures it out. I don't know what'll happen. So yeah, I like
I think the hive mind will actually result in better ideas. I think right now, like, I really do think every time we try the hive mind thing with image generation, it feels very creative. Which is interesting because like our other areas don't feel as creative right now when we do the hive mind stuff, but there's something about that which seems more creative. So I really think that we should do more image generation together at these office hours. So I think from now on, for the next few ones, I'm going to do image generation every time. We're going to see how that feels. I don't think we're going to continue to update shorten. I think shorten will be kind of deprecated. I grew up on DeviantArt. DeviantArt was fun. It's a little weird nowadays. It's definitely gotten weirder. I think one of the challenges with DeviantArt was that people wanted like more nudity because they said it was art, and then as they allowed it more, it got like in some ways less inviting to people. I'm not sure, but I think there's something to learn from DeviantArt. But it's definitely really different when I was there than when it is now. It's really interesting. I mean, it's just yeah. I have like a soft spot for DeviantArt in my heart as a child. I don't use Pinterest, but I like Pinterest conceptually. Midjourney beanies. It could happen. Yeah. I know people feel. I mean, I've thought about just doing like a $10,000 swag contest too, but I mean, I think the mid. I think the. I think like. I think we're just gonna like wing it and do like some group creation, and I think we can do that. We can figure things out. We can have fun, and maybe we'll hire some people if there's like if we see really great people from the. I don't want anyone to be doing it because they're looking for a job though. Like I can't hire everybody and I can't pay everybody, but we can brainstorm together and try to make some great swag that everybody can then buy. And I think if there was like one person who like obviously made like the best idea ever and it came out of nowhere, like we're real people, like we'll figure out some way to reward people. But then like who knows if that's what actually happens or if like, it's more of like a emergent thing from the group. So I think let's try doing like a bunch of group creativity sessions. And if you want to complain, I'm sorry. I can't make everyone happy. I can't do everything for everybody. I'm just gonna try to create a fun environment and finally get some damn swag to the people. I feel like we need more swag to the people. My biggest regret in my career is not making enough swag. There would be so many Leap Motion sweaters out there if I had done it, and I didn't do it. Big mistake. And we have a dearth of not enough Midjourney swag. So we need to do better. We will swag better. I apologize to everybody for the lack of swag. I think that's really I think that's really the area that we messed up, I'm sorry, guys. I'm very happy with the magazine. So the magazine is kind of our only piece of Midjourney swag right now. But man, if we make Midjourney swag, we can probably like subsidize it, Like we make it really cheap, really good. I want like some good ass Midjourney swag. Midjourney pillowcase, that's so cute. All right. Everybody get ready, and we're gonna do the Midjourney swag session next time. I think for today, that's it. So I appreciate everybody for coming. This has been the Midjourney office hours. We do them every week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm sorry we didn't get to do more voice talk today. I really love hearing people's voices. I really do. But I think I had too much fun answering questions via text. So we have to figure out the new balance there, and maybe we'll figure it out next time. But for today, I think we've had a fun session. Thank you for coming. We do these every week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There are prompt battles on the calendar. There's other events on the calendar. Go to the events, meet new people in the community. Everybody here is like kind of great. Like, I'm always surprised by how great everyone is. Like, a lot of businesses have bad people. Like, it's like everyone's asking for a double super latte, you know? Whereas everyone here, we're all making the lattes, right? So it's a really great group. So thank you everyone, and I hope everyone's having fun. And we're gonna try really hard to come up with some new fun things, and we're just gonna keep working on it every single day. This is what we do. So thank you all for being a great community, and I will see everyone next week. Have a nice day.